Hi everyone, my name is Purvi Makwana and I'm a consultant with Opalwave, and I've been involved in a few implementations of our IFRS 16 solution. Okay, so this session is titled IFRS 16 NetWeaver versus Microsoft version differences. In this session we're going to go through the differences in implementing the IFRS 16 solution on a NetWeaver system compared with a Microsoft system, followed by a demonstration of how the lease creation process works in the Microsoft system. Okay, so to begin with, let's take a look at the dimensions. So in the Microsoft system, there is the option to use in-app properties, and these need to be ticked for certain properties so that reports display properly. Which properties need this ticking is all written out in the documentation, but it's just something to be aware of. Something else that's different in the Microsoft version is that these two logic scripts here, 0.1 and 0.2, when you validate the logic script, it will come up with an error. So we'll see that in just a moment. And this error here comes from the fact that this lease ref set member hasn't yet been populated. When a data manager package is run, this will get populated by the selections that the user makes there, so this error can be ignored. Something else to note is that every time any new members get added to the time dimension in order to expand it and new properties get filled in, once the time dimension has been saved and processed, the default logic script also needs to be saved and processed. This is because it looks at all the time members that are included in the time dimension, and so every time that gets updated, this logic script will also need to update and compile with the latest time members. Okay, so that's it for differences in the admin client. Next, let's go on to talk about creating leases. So it's the same create leases template that we're going to use. The only difference is that, so once we've filled out everything here and checked that our lease is valid and that the member ID has been generated, we click this Add New Leases button, and where in the NetWeaver system this automatically created master data on the fly, that isn't the case in the Microsoft version. So in NetWeaver, what happened is it triggered a custom process chain in VW. So it's worth noting that if a customer does want this feature to work on their NetWeaver system, they need to ensure that that functionality can be carried out. But in Microsoft, this option is not available, and what happens when this is triggered is that two text files are created in the PCMS folder, one called IFRS 16 bulk upload metadata and one called IFRS 16 bulk upload data. Now the information from the metadata text file is all in this page here as well. So this is all of the master data that needs to be pasted into the admin client in order to create the lease manually. So if we just take everything from this row, we can just copy and paste it straight into the LSE ref dimension in the admin client. So if we go to LSE ref, dimension members, and then we just paste it in here. Then we just save and process. So once this is complete, our lease member will have been created in this dimension, and what we need to do is upload the transactional data manually. So go back to our template, and now we need to go and upload the IFRS 16 bulk upload data text file here that was saved automatically to the PCMS folder in this IFRS 16 bulk upload file. So if we select that text file and upload it, then we can run a package to import it into the system. And when we're doing the import, we use this IFRS 16 bulk upload transaction data transformation file. And then we just run the package. So that's now succeeded. So the only issue with this really, from a customer point of view, is deciding who has the permissions to create these leases, because the admin client does need to be accessed, so it might be an admin user that needs to do the actual creation of the leases. Okay, so we've created our master data, we've uploaded the transactional data manually, and the next thing to do is to refresh the metadata or to just log off and log back on. Then when we go onto this review and commentary sheet and refresh it, we should see the lease that we've just created. And there it is. So the master data was all saved and the transaction data containing the start and end dates was also uploaded successfully. From this point on, everything else is the same as it was in the NetWeaver system. You can go on and add comments if you want to, then open up IFI 003, add payments, run lease calculations and translations, and so on. So this is the main difference really. Okay, and the final point that we need to talk about is moving data from development systems to production systems. So in a NetWeaver version, the IFRS 16 model can be created in a development system, and then a transport could be created to move all of the master data and transactional data from the development system into the production system. However, this isn't possible in the Microsoft version, so the system will need to be built twice with all the dimensions members in the IFRS 16 model. And then the data, the transactional data, can just be exported and then imported into the development system, into the production system, sorry. So that's something else to be aware of. Okay, so those are the main differences between the NetWeaver and Microsoft versions of the IFRS 16 system. If nobody else has any questions, we'll end the session there.